If you go to ESPN.com in 2025, the website's going to look like this. I'm going to take you to a time where the website looks a little bit different. Yep, there used to be a time where old ESPN.com used to look like this. Now, this is the ESPN.com that I kind of resonate with the most as a kid. 29 years old now, so when I was in high school and middle school, ESPN.com used to look like this. You had Sports Nation, you had so many other features of the website that really made it feel like a website. Now, I know that as we're in this age of the internet, the website is kind of going away and it kind of all feels like a bunch of social media platforms melded into one. But the ESPN website was robust and it had a whole lot of different features. The one I'm going to talk to you about today is ESPN Arcade. ESPN Arcade was a project of about 40 or so games where ESPN teamed up with a company called Skyworks Interactive to make these kind of flash games. Now, for those of you that don't know what a flash game is, holy crap, we're losing recipes. A flash game was a type of computer game that you would play on the internet, and most, if not all of them, used Adobe Flash. Rest in peace. It's really been that long? 2020. Okay, never mind. So today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite and least favorite ESPN Arcade games, how they held up compared to Flash games of that era, so on and so forth. If you're new here, welcome in, and if you know me, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, everything you can do to support the channel. The goal is to get 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're above 60,000, which is ahead of pace, honestly, in my opinion. I didn't think that it was going to go from 50 to 60K that fast, so I really thank you guys so much. Back to the rest of the video. So the first thing I have to say about this video is that there's not much information about ESPN Arcade specifically, because if you type in ESPNarcade.com, it just reroutes to the ESPN Fantasy Sports website. The website's gone. It's just gone. And while ESPNarcade.com might be gone, we still have proof that it exists. Back when ESPN was doing these Madden simulations in collaboration with EA, you can see on the bottom right that ESPN Arcade games were in existence. And I'm going to go through some of these games right now. Even though I can't click on these because they do not exist anymore. It just reroutes me to ESPN.com/fantasy, I still have access to these games. Flashpoint. The first game we're going to talk about is a game called QB Pass Attack. It's pretty straightforward. It feels like a game that you would see at your local Dave & Buster's. I love Dave & Buster's, don't get me wrong, but playing this game on the mouse where you have to like scroll down and scroll up, it's very complicated. It's not complicated, you know, it's very simple, but these games sometimes are more frustrating than you would think. As you can see by my gameplay here, and as you can see in this video by a lot of the gameplay, which is my own, not gonna look that good. And while these are arcade games, they don't all resemble games that you would see in an arcade, like at a Chuck E. Cheese or a Dave & Buster. All right, moving on. SUV Triathlon is a game where you drive around collecting ESPN Arcade icons, and from what I can tell, that's a lot of what you do. It says that there's extra buttons for tricks, but I don't think I never really got that far because I just never found this interesting. I'd rather just play Miniclip on the run. Now, Miniclip games are gonna be its own different video, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, my gameplay's bad here. Then there's Text Blitz Sports, which is kind of a form of anagrams, and this is one of my favorites. I don't remember playing this that much as a kid, but going back and recircling, it was really cool trying to guess what names there were, especially since this game was made in late 2000s, early 2010s. I also want to take the time and say here that I don't know exactly when an arcade shut down. That's really hard to, I didn't really see any articles that talked about it shut down. I think it just magically turned to ESPN.com fantasy. Look, Jake the Loam. QB Pocket Instincts was a game that kind of resembled the first-person football game mode, but a lot more simplified. You had two receivers, you got to pick your own route, and you just had to throw the ball and get the ball out before you get sacked. It's kind of just a hope and pray. I really couldn't find out the accuracy for this game, really. Through a lot of picks, a lot of incompletions. And in my opinion, this is very well put together for a Flash game. If you haven't seen Sport Copter, yes, you have. You've seen a Flash game that looks exactly like this. You probably have a different name for it than I do, but Flash games had a lot of overlap for the same game. Sometimes it was the same game reskinned, but you've seen this kind of game. There's not really much to say about this. Just fly the helicopter until you crash. Club 300 Bowling. Pretty good bowling flash game, but again, I do not like how with the mouse you try to, it's aimed by how you scroll up, and I was never good at that because, you know, you had a mouse pad, but you had to be very diligent because you're trying to make the mouse go as straight as possible because it's a very sensitive aiming system. As you can see here, this is my 5th straight gutter ball. Going back to the basketball genre, we have mini hoops that kind of reminds you of your Dave & Buster's Chuck E. Cheese style Papa Shot basketball. For this game, it was really hard to just swish the basketball. It felt like you had to just bank every shot in, which is fine, not complaining. I do not like, however, how they have the trash talk at the bottom. This is supposed to be a simple flash game. I don't need you telling me that my grandma can shoot, because if I'm not shooting better, it's not me. Tell you that right now. It's the game. Then there's the ESPN game Get Ya Peanuts, where your whole point of the game is to throw peanuts at fans for a certain time limit. And as you can see, this is in the genre of ESPN arcade games where there really isn't that much direction or that much help. You're just told, like, fling the mouse, and you try to fling the mouse, and then you realize that no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna get to the back row. So yeah, that was a game. As you can see here, I'm trying my absolute best, right? These games aren't built to be complicated, but sometimes the control schemes were no bueno. There's the popular series Linebacker, where you as one defender are trying to stop the return man. I like this genre a lot because this one felt like, even though it was a flash game, it felt really unique to the ESPN arcade, ESPN.com. It didn't feel like a Nabisco World game. It felt like its own unique ESPN arcade style game. It was wideout, return man, and linebacker. The longer you went into linebacker, return man, or wideout, the more skills you would achieve, and that was more incentive to keep playing the game, which I really appreciated in the flash game genre. If you ever had a yearning to play the Dr. Pepper halftime challenge, they made a flash game of it, except the Dr. Pepper can move. This is really easy to time. I want to just be frank here. As you can see, it just got the timing down and I started passing levels. As interesting as this looks, it's not that hard. I do appreciate flying obstacles trying to distract you, but it's not that hard of a game. Then there was the popular golf game Out of Bounds, which featured you as a driving range, basically Top Golf style, and you tried to hit greens, hit cars, hit the golf lodge if you want to, even hit people if you wanted to. You could do whatever you want with those 20 or so golf balls. Okay, moving on. There is not a game in this video that annoys me more than Big League Bash, because first of all, this game, there may have been directions that showed up on the ESPN arcade website because they do not show up in the flash game. And no matter how hard I tried, I'm not hitting a home run. I'm just hitting these up the line, or I'm absolutely whiffing on. This is the least fun home run derby video game I've ever played. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I hate this game a lot. I don't know if you know how frustrating it is to play a home run derby game and you're getting ground ball after ground ball and you've been playing this game for 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me, but you know what this is? I just blame the game. There really isn't any direction in terms of like what I'm supposed to do, and the game doesn't really offer that to me. So yeah, I hate this game. A game I don't hate though is Long Ball. Now Long Ball is just a better version of Big League Bash because they give you the controls and it looks like you actually are given a chance to hit the ball out of the park. Now, when you hit higher levels, they start throwing in more pitches to the arsenal. They throw curveballs in there. They try to throw you off balance, but at least they give you direction or like, hey, you're actually doing pretty good. Unlike Big League Bash, I forgot how much I did not like that game growing up. Oh my goodness. I also really like this style of animation when you can tell that it's real people pitching and swinging, but it's still an animated flash game. I miss that. I always found it kind of funny. I don't know how they make it, but this is a really interesting game. And I wish that animation style was brought back. I know it's kind of weird how they do it. Yeah, I just find this very special. I know what you're thinking. Yes, ESPN made a cornhole game. And for the first couple of rounds, I forgot how to actually throw the cornhole. Throw the cornhole, just toss the bag, toss the bag. But as you can see, there are certain games here that you're not going to see many places else online. And you could sink hours into these games, honestly, trying to get better, trying to hone your skills, trying to beat the computer, because certain computer players had different skill levels. It also taught you a lot about Cornhole, because I didn't know how to play until I read the rules. But again, yes, this is just one of the many ESPN arcade games that like also taught you about sports, even in its simplicity. And I love that. I hate Mean Greens with a passion, right? Now, there were so many golf flash games back in the day. There are so many different genres of golf flash games. I could make a YouTube video on this. This one's hard because this one's not even like, it's the controls as well. Like, not only are the greens, I know the greens are supposed to trip you up and whatnot, but the control scheme beyond it too also makes this game just really frustrating. It's not a game that I thought was worth mastering, but as you can see, me just even recording gameplay for this video, I think you could see me getting visibly frustrated with this course. Yeah, I'm absolutely missing a lot of these. ESPN Arcade Superstar Golf. This game sucks. I'm sorry, this game is bad. This game is so bad. Maybe I'm bad at the game, but you could see this game, I got like a plus 15 on the first hole. These golf flash games are supposed to be simple, I get it, but there's a whole lot going on here. One, you just have to guess which clubs go how far. Not to mention that the swing and snap meter is just very wonky. I know it's a flash game. I know that I am being difficult here. There are way better flash golf games out there, and this is just not one of them. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Turf Defense as an ESPN arcade game, I think is at the higher tier. This is kind of their take on an Age of War / like a Bloons Tower Defense, where your whole goal was trying to protect this goat over here, and you had to put different obstacles in front to protect them from the incoming linebackers. As you can see, that you could easily sink your teeth in this game because there's so much options in terms of like what you can add to the field as the levels go on. Kind of reminds me of Plants vs. Zombies, except I think that this game came out before it. But again, Turf Defense, really solid hidden gem, I think, in ESPN Arcade. I feel like I've never talked to anyone on this earth about this game, so this is what the YouTube video is for. In the same vein as Linebacker, Return Man was also one of these, feels like specifically ESPN arcade style games where the goal is simple. You're trying to return a kickoff for a touchdown, and of course you have power-ups on the field, whether it's speed boost, whether it's getting extra cleats when it snows or whatnot. It feels very layered. It feels like a very layered flash game. It's not as simple as some of the other ones that I mentioned, and these are the ones where I felt like embody ESPN Arcade the most, because again, some of these felt similar to a lot of other flash games on other websites, whereas this one felt unique, special, made just for the website. I may be off base, but that's what it felt like to me. And last but not least, you have ESPN Arcade Baseball, which is probably the most recognizable of all of the ESPN Arcade Flash style games. I know a lot of people still talk about and play this game to this day. This is probably the most recognizable. I think it's up there with one of the best. It's top 5. It's up there with Turf Defense, Return Man, and Linebacker for sure. I highly suggest you try this game. Still out there. So those were just a few of the ESPN Arcade Flash games. I know there's so more, but I didn't get to cover them all. And there are definitely other Flash games that I will cover. Feel free to comment and I'll definitely talk about them. But I just want to thank ESPN Arcade, and I want to thank that era of ESPN for trying a lot of things that they didn't have to. They didn't have to make these Flash games. They didn't have to make Return Man and Linebacker. I mean, yes, there were a lot of Flash games that existed out there, but the sports genre compared to the other Flash game genres is a little bit lacking. I mean, a lot of Flash games were just like guns, swords, fighting, etc., etc. Whereas Flash games for ESPN Arcade, you know, it was all sports. So I appreciate them for trying to make these. Not trying, they succeeded. And before we go, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, Elgato. Elgato is your premier source for all things content creation. Whether you want lights, whether you want webcams, whether you want a stream deck to help you seamlessly switch between different scenes, Elgato has you covered. In this video that you're watching, you can see that I use this Elgato green screen. It's handy, it helps me so much in terms of just showcasing what I'm talking about. It really enhances my videos, and I really encourage you to get it. It's collapsible, and so it allows you to just put and store and just have it when you And that's very essential, especially if you want to maximize the space in your apartment or house. I cannot recommend this green screen enough. My favorite thing about Elgato is that all their products are seamless, they all work well with each other, and they're always releasing new stuff. So if you're interested in taking your content creation to the next level, feel free to click the link in my description for 5% off if you're a first-time user. If you're trying to get into content creation, take it from me. I've been using Elgato products north of like 7 years. It is the best stuff out there. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the end of the video. I will see you guys later. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.